This is the Terra Green headquarters. I got the computer where I edit all the videos, a cool shelf for decorations, but I'm Terra Green and there's no animals in here. That's why I'm gonna build a massive mega aquarium right here, completely decked out with thousands of dollars of decorations. And I'm gonna fill the tank up with the absolute coolest fish species. And I'll make sure each fish has some sort of special ability that I'll be able to show off all by the end of the video. This is gonna be crazy. So to get started, I rolled this super heavy box over and built everything inside. As you can see, it's a table, and it's the perfect size for this massive aquarium tank. In fact, here's my dog Jet for scale. If it can hold my dog, it can definitely hold all the cool fish species we're gonna put inside of here. Now for the build, you already know we're gonna be starting with some aqua soil, which is super important for making sure our plants grow nice and strong. But if you've seen my channel before, you know this soil can make the water extremely dark and dirty. So this time I've come prepared with a bunch of sand. We're gonna give this a nice clean coat on top of the soil, and in order to make it look not so flat, I made this little sand hill in the left corner. But now that we've got about an inch of soil and about 1/4 an inch of sand, we can start getting cool decorations in here. And first up, let's just focus on the wood. And yeah, I'm Terra Green, so we got some pretty good options for wood. In fact, in this closet, I think we got a lot of wood in here. Shoot, I forgot how much there was in here. This would have been useful for some past videos. Anyways, I gathered them all up and brought it over to the mega tank. Since the wood will kind of be the base of everything, I really took a bit of time to find the exact pattern and types of wood that I liked the most. And after a little while, I ended up deciding on this. I kind of liked how all the wood was in this one area, and hopefully by the end, it's all gonna look like tree trunks growing out of the water. But for now, I actually have to take the pieces of wood out and throw them in a bathtub. Now, technically, I don't think we have to do this, but basically the thinking is if we let this soak up a bunch of water inside the wood, when we go and add the water inside of our fish tank, the wood won't just like float to the top, because that's a problem sometimes I have. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave this here for a few hours. After a couple hours, I went and put them back in the tank, added the price to the total, and now it's time to add in some rocks. We're gonna keep it simple, just a couple pretty big gray rocks scattered around that I bought from an aquarium store earlier, and I figured it'd be cool to kind of blend the gray pattern into the sand more, so I used a bunch of these tiny gray pebbles to do that to all the rocks around. And with that, I would say the base decorations of the enclosure are complete. Now we gotta do the DIY decorations. And this is where it gets fun, because right in this area right there, I want to build a custom fish statue, because I don't really know why. I just think it'll be cool or something. Now if you're wondering how I'm gonna do this, well, first of all, I set up a table next to the tank that I could work on, but then I got out this brick and some chisels. Yep, I'm gonna carve this brick into a fish sculpture. This probably isn't gonna go so well. But quickly before doing that, as you know, I'm gonna be putting the coolest fish species in here that have abilities that are so cool to watch. And to get inspired on what species I should put in, I pulled out my phone to start playing Fishing Clash, which is actually the sponsor of today's video. Basically, Fishing Clash is a competitive mobile fishing game where you get to catch hundreds of different fish species from real-world locations, like the Amazon River, Florida coast, and more. And I spent like 30 minutes just catching fish over and over until I caught this. Oh shoot, look at that fish. Yo, it's green. Wait, I gotta add one of those to the mega fish tank I'm building. Dolphin fish, hold on, let me write that down. And I love it because the game never gets stale, because there's always more to upgrade. Rods, lures, and even gear, which will all help you catch even bigger and better fish. But my favorite part of the game is the multiplayer aspect, which lets you go against other real players to make each catch feel like a competition. And because there's always something new going on with all of the events and missions, I never get bored of catching insane fish. So if this game sounds interesting at all and you want to see what you can catch, then you can sign up to the game using my QR code or clicking the link in the description box. Make sure to use my special gift code TerraGreen to claim a $20 value reward, including a unique avatar entirely for free. This is going to make the game even more fun for you. Once again, thank you to Fishing Clash for sponsoring this video, and now back to the content. I didn't watch any tutorial or anything. I just got straight to drawing a little pattern on it, and then I got straight to carving. At first, I was just using the back of the hammer, but it wasn't really effective. So I took the chisels out of their package and instead used the hammer to smack the back of it. And basically, I just did that over and over and over and over, very carefully, trying not to break it. I did make one mistake by accidentally breaking off a big piece of the base, but I quickly fixed it up until it was done. Well, here it is. My first ever statue I sculpted out. And besides a few things I kind of messed up on it, I would say this belongs in the museums besides the greatest works of sculpts of art of ever. But yeah, anyways, let me just put this in right there and boom. But I still kind of felt like something was missing, so I bought a very important addition: googly eyes. There we go, that's what it was missing. If you think I should try building a statue again in a future video, let me know in the comments. And also, let me know what to build. Don't make it too hard though. I don't really want to build anything too hard. Now for the next DIY decoration, let's make a custom custom aquarium background. You see, many people add these backdrops which make the back of their aquariums blue, or they can have stone textures, but I want to make my own from scratch. So I got out a big piece of poster paper and cut it to match the size of my tank. Then I got out my coloring kit and got to designing. I started by basically filling in the whole thing in with some blue marker because I sort of liked how the blue looked on some of the pictures I've seen. But from there, I started to use more markers to draw a little sand area near the bottom, some seaweed aquatic plants coming out of the sand, and finally it needed some animals, so I got the axolotl sticker from the TerraGreen Essential Sticker Pack, which is available at TerraGreenStore.com, by the way, and put some of those on there. And finally, I put some of these TerraGreen stickers also from the pack on the backdrop. All right, we're done. Now you might be thinking, TerraGreen, this looks like trash. I'm unsubscribing. What are you doing? But there's actually a really good artistic vision behind this. Let me show you guys something. What we're gonna do is open this ChatGPT app, which is an AI software, and we're basically gonna click the camera button, take a picture of my beautiful work of art, and now I just gotta tell it what to do. ChatGPT, I need you to take this really cool drawing of an aquarium background that I make and turn it into a super cool realistic image, okay? And then basically I'm just gonna send this message off and I'll show you guys what it sends back. And here's the final product. It actually looks pretty good. So I sent it to my computer to do some finishing touches, then I uploaded it to a printing website. The only way I could get it printed on a paper big enough for the tank is to order it online. So that's what I did. The only thing is I have to go pick it up tomorrow. So I guess in the meantime, let's keep working on the aquarium. And next up on the list is actually to fill up the tank with water. Now for this build, since it was so big, I actually routed my hose through my window. That way I could just turn on the faucet and it would fill up. And it only took about 15 minutes for it to fully fill up. Now I don't actually want to just only fill this up with water, because if I had put a fish in here right now, it would die. You see, this is because fish poop, obviously. But in aquariums, the poop actually dissolves into the water, which over time, the fish will have to breathe, and obviously, poop water isn't good for the fish. So we need to do something called cycling, which will add bacteria that eats the poop before the fish breathes it. So I added in a couple products that did just that. Then I even sprinkled in a little bit of fish food, which will basically feed the bacteria I just added and make it stronger so it can break down the poop even better. But anyways, I had to wait a whole 12 days until the cycling was done. So yeah, now you probably know why I don't show that every video, but in the meantime, I was able to go and pick up, the backdrop. Yeah, looks pretty good. So I put that behind the tank, and now I would say we're ready for step 4, adding in the aquatic plants. So I quickly drove to the store to go buy some. Okay, I'm at Petco, and I have a feeling I'm about to spend a lot of money, because if you look over here at the plants, it's $11 for this tiny plant, and a medium-sized one is even more. And well, I need like 50 of these. So I picked out all the ones I liked and bought them. I even ended up going to another pet store to buy all of their stock, so by the time I got home, I was absolutely stacked with aquarium plants. If you're wondering, the total came out to $593. Yeah, that's kind of sad. But anyways, let's just get to planting them. Let's go. First of all, I drained the cycled water into a tub to make it easier to plant. Then I went in and started to put the smaller plants in the front, the medium plants, in the middle, and the large plants in the back, of course. I even had a couple plants left over, so I started to scatter them along the wood to fill up the tank even more. Finally, I filled it back up with water, and by the end, this is what it looks like. And well, dang, I would say this is pretty good. Nice job, me. You did a good job building this. And now that the tank is complete, it's time to do the last thing. Stock it with fish. And oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Usually I buy my fish online, but this time I wanted to head to the biggest fish store in my state that will 100% have some insane species of fish. This is gonna be like a 4-hour drive, so let's go. Thankfully, you guys don't have to watch the whole 4 hours because of the magical power of editing. But anyways, here's the store. Okay, well, I made it, but I'm not gonna lie, this place kind of looks small. Was this worth the 4-hour drive? But when I walked inside, I figured out that this was definitely worth driving 4 hours for, because look at this. They had like 7 of these aisles that were just absolutely stacked with the different fish species. There were so many options, and so many of the fish just looked so cool, and I wish I could buy them all, but I ended up choosing and buying just 4 different species, which I'm gonna keep a secret until I put them in the tank. All right, the goods have been gotten, and if you're wondering, the total came out to $500. But anyways, let's just go home. So I quickly drove the 4 hours back. Alright, now it's time to add in the fish. Now I've got 4 different species that all have some sort of unique special ability, but for now, we got the first fish species right here. These are balloon mollies, and I've got 14 of them, which should fill up the tank pretty nicely. And after a little bit, they all swam out the net to start exploring around the tank. Instantly, they all kind of just grouped up, and they seemed like they were having an amazing time looking around their new home. Now, I did say that every fish I was going to add has a special ability, and these guys, they have an ability, it's just not that special. You see, mollies Mollies like these guys will constantly just swim around the tank, sucking up sand or taking nips at the plants. And the reason they do this is because they're actually able to filter out microscopic little food particles from the sand and the leaves. And yeah, they basically just spend all day swimming around looking for something to eat. Anyways, fish number 2 is in here. These are hillstream loaches. And yeah, there's 5 of them in here, which you might not even be able to tell. And yeah, they definitely aren't your average fish species, but they're insanely cool, so I put them all inside the tank. Instantly, they swam down to the bottom because these loaches are bottom dwellers, which means they spend basically all their time just chilling on the floor. But what makes these cool is not only that they look like stingrays with those flaps coming out of the body, but those flaps actually have an important purpose. You see, hillstream loaches are able to suction their body to surfaces like the side of the glass by pressing their fins down. And this basically lets them just swim along the glass and eat up any sort of algae or biofilm that grows there. Technically, these guys can get almost all their food on their own by doing this. Man, I love these guys. They literally look like little aliens that'll suck at your face. Yeah, they're pretty cool, but the third fish is even cooler. These are clouded archerfish, the biggest fish I'm gonna be adding. And I've shown archerfish in videos before, but these clouded ones are a bit different and they're gonna go well in the tank. But the thing is, right after adding them in, the mollies actually kind of started to surround them to inspect their new tank mates. I did carefully watch this to make sure no fights broke out, because these archerfish can be slightly aggressive at times. But after a couple minutes, the mollies stopped surrounding the archerfish and they started to swim around. Now you see, archerfish basically spend all their time at the top of the water, and they do this for a very special reason. That's because archerfish's special ability is they're able to spit a little stream out of the water into the air, specifically to knock types of bugs into the water so they can eat them. It's absolutely crazy, and I just had to try it with these guys, so I got out a cricket onto my hand and just kind of held it above the water. I held it there for a few minutes, and the closest one got was this archerfish, who was just sitting right under my hand. But I guess he couldn't see the cricket moving or anything, because he didn't even try to spit water at it. Well, shoot, none of the archerfish are trying to eat this thing right now. But I do actually have a video about a year ago I posted about the 7 weirdest fish, where I actually showed the archerfish shooting. And as you can see, it's super cool and super satisfying once it actually does. And yeah, they just basically gulp the cricket out the water once they land it in. It's very cool. But anyways, now it's time for the 4th and final fish species, which is right here. And in fact, it's actually not a fish at all. These are brine shrimp. And in fact, they're actually not meant to be kept as pets at all, because they actually live in salt water. But many aquarium owners will use these guys as a food source for their fish because they're very nutritious. And so I just had to try and feed some of my new fishies. So I poured the brine shrimp into a water gun. And yes, I did have to put them inside a water gun. I couldn't find any syringes or anything to suck them up with. But anyways, I started to just shoot the water gun into the water. And every time I shot it, you can see a few of these little white specks came out of the stream. These are the brine shrimp. And after I started to shoot the gun a little closer to some of the fish, at first you can tell they were kind of scared and probably thought I was trying to attack them or something. In fact, it took a couple minutes before I noticed the first fish starting to eat the shrimp. But oh boy, was this fish absolutely loving it. He was just going around gulping up shrimp after shrimp. I guess they're just super tasty to the fish, because over time, pretty much every fish ended up getting their fair share of this food. Well, all the fish have been put into this tank and it's completely built up, so I would call this a major success. My office area already looks so much better, and it's so cool to be able to look over to my right while I'm working and see all these different life forms interacting with each other. Make sure to check out TerraGreenStore.com, by the way, guys, if you haven't already. I recommend every product, but my favorite is the Terra Green shirt with all the animals from every video, and the Terra Green Essential Sticker Pack, which you can just go and stick to random stuff around the house. It's pretty fire. But yeah, click the video on the screen if you want to watch another. Goodbye, guys, and have a good day.